Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is Yaakazaki Yahoo, and I start this broadcast as I start any broadcast by first of all giving all praise, honor, and great esteem unto the Most High Power of Yahuwah, Bahashem, Yahushua Hamashiach, and to the 12 tribes of Israel who are scattered to the four quarters of the earth. I say shalom, wabarukim, that is peace and blessings. And I cannot wait till the day that the Most High brings us back together and we are once again 12 tribes, one family, one nation, under the Most High Power, under one covenant. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I'm joined this evening by my most esteemed Ak Kenaniah. Shalom, my king.
Hey, shalom, shalom, Maki. Shalom, shalom, Yasharal. Hallelujah. And he is seen fit for us to be amongst the living this day, this hour. All praises.
Hallelujah. All praises indeed. Another Yom Shishi evening and another opportunity for us to get into the scripts, back into the book, the first book of Samuel. And we are picking up at chapter number 16. So let's go ahead and get directly to it and get edified. All right. So this is the first book of Samuel, chapter number 16. And well, before I get started, uh, last week, kind of recap where we were, what we read, and Saul Shaul had basically, uh, put himself on the chopping block, and the Most High was done, was at the end of him, and he inquired about to the Most High and heard nothing back, and Samuel had told him that it was a wrap. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe the last bit we read was he asked him to uh, basically have a feast with him, and he had that, and he went away and he never talked to him again until I guess to his dying day is what I believe is what he said.
Mm-hmm.
Khan, you remember that? Okay, Khan, yeah. Let me get
We
this look
can.
back here. Yeah, and Samuel came no more to Shaul. This is chapter 15, verse 35. The last verse it said, and Samuel came no more to Shaul until the day of his death. Nevertheless, uh, Samuel mourned for Shaul, and Yahuwah repented that he had made Shaul king over Israel. So basically, he painted himself into a corner and, just did not keep the way that the Most High had told him to go. And for that, he was almost banished. I mean, the Most High had basically turned his back to him, which
We
is a
can.
position that nobody wants to be in.
Right. And
But
we had talked about it last week. It was really because rather than it becoming about the nation, Shaul had made things about him. It was
God,
for his esteem.
yeah, yes, indeed, he did, and put himself in a terrible position. So let's pick up with chapter 16 and verse number 1. The headline reads: Shemuel goes to Bethlehem. Excuse me, Bethlehem, Salakia. Excuse me, let me get a little water here. Okay, verse 1. And Yahuwah spake unto Samuel, how long will you mourn for Shaul, seeing I have rejected him from being over Israel? Fill thine horn with oil and go, and I will send you to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons. So we get right here in verse chapter 16. The Most High sending Samuel to Jesse's house to find us a king among his sons. So verse 2, Samuel said, how can I go? If Shaul hear it, he will kill me. And Yahuwah said, take an heifer with you and say, I am come to sacrifice to Yahuwah. So now isn't that interesting? I
Yeah.
mean, to read this, Samuel is getting instruction from uh, the representative of the Most High, and he's telling them to, you know, get around. make it not what it is, and get around Shaul that way. That's pretty interesting. So uh, certainly, I mean, certainly not nothing wrong with that. I mean,
It's
his mission is
wisdom.
to.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
It's yeah. Be wise in your
absolutely.
movement. You know.
Absolutely. Don't go in there and like, yeah, it's over for you. Which I was kind of surprised that he even threw in his face that, you're gonna be replaced. I felt like get the man, put him in the place, and then just let it happen naturally. And you had to tell
Mm-hmm.
him. You know what I'm saying? Just, but it worked out that way anyway. But let's continue. Verse 3: And call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you, what you shall do, and you shall anoint unto me him whom I name unto you. So the one that he named to Samuel is the one that he's going to anoint. Verse
Mm-hmm.
4: And Samuel did that which Yahuwah spake, and came to Bethlehem, and the elders of the town trembled in his coming, and said, Come you peaceably? Like, he coming to tell us we going off. We about to get another captivity, y'all. We about to, what I'm saying? This is what's been happening. The prophets always show up and say, y'all going off, and you're finna go in
Mm-hmm.
captivity. And like, here come another warning. Here come the man of the hood. So I tell you, I need to get your houses in order and stop. You know what I'm saying? You should be happy to see the man of the Most High when he show up, and not be like, oh yeah, he coming to tell us we off. Verse 5: And he said peaceably, I come to sacrifice unto Yahuwah. Sanctify yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice. And he sacrificed Jesse and his
Sanctified.
sons. Oh, Salaki. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
I was
Okay.
like, right, right.
Okay. And he sanctified Salakia. He sanctified Jesse and his sons and called them to the sacrifice. I didn't even look at Jesse's name. Let's take a look at that real quick.
Yeshai.
Yeshai, Yeshai,
Yeshai.
Yeshai, Yeshai. Okay, Yeshai. I possess, grandson of Boaz, father of King Dawood. Khan. Okay, all right. Let's continue. Yeah, so we did see his name in the book of Ruth. I forgot about that, but
Mm-hmm.
never hurts to revisit. All right, verse 6. And it came to pass that Slicha, when they were come, that he looked on Elba,
Eliab.
Eliab, and said, Surely Yahuwah anointing is before him. But Yahuwah said unto Samuel, Look not at his countenance, or at the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For Yahuwah seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but Yahuwah looketh on the heart. That's beautiful because he's looking at
Mm-hmm.
Dawood's heart, and yeah, Dawood did very
And
well.
what? Khan. What's that? Eliab mean?
Oh, okay. Let's take a look at that. Eliab. Let's take a look at that. 446. Eli. Uh,
Eliab.
um, my power is Father, or power is Father. Most High is Father. Okay. So it's used 21 times. A Gadite warrior of Dawood. Hmm. So he had a Gadite in his. So we actually see that all the way back in Numbers. That's
Okay,
interesting.
Khan.
I didn't. Surely we would have.
I
Yeah, back
want to
in.
say it was one of the captains, wasn't it?
I believe. I mean, let's go back here. Yeah, Zebulon, Eliab, son of Helon.
Mm-hmm.
We see it in the next one. The tribe of Zebulun, which is mentioned a couple times in Zebulun. So, yeah, that's why its definition is so long because it's been used in so many different people. son of Hilon, leader of Zebulun in the wilderness, Reubenite, chief father of Deneth and Abiram, Abiram, David's oldest brother, a Levite musician, a Gadite warrior, and a Kohathite. Yeah, common, very common name.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Look at the heart. Okay, so verse 8. Then Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass before Samuel and said, neither have Yahuwah chosen him or chosen this. I don't know why he called it like this. Like that's like a cattle or something.
Right.
That's kind of you know what I'm saying. Like Abinadab. I know we've seen this one before.
Yeah,
My
con.
my father is noble. My father is willing. Okay, this reiteration. Um, yeah. Okay, verse 9. And yes, he made Shema,
Shemama. Shem
Shem,
Shema. Yeah.
Shema to pass by. And he said, neither have Yahuwah chosen this. Like, Yahuwah don't want this horse. Like, come on, man. I don't understand that. Uh, Astonishment is Shema's name. Shema. Uh, yeah, that was all the way back in Bereshit. We saw that. So, all right. Verse 10. Again, Jesse made his sons pass before Samuel. And Samuel said to Jesse, Yahuwah have not chosen these. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Are there are here all your children? And he said, There remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Send and fetch him, for we shall not sit down till he come here. Uh, First Samuel chapter 16 and verse number 12. Dawood anointed, or Dawid anointed, and he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy and uh, were all of a beautiful countenance and goodly to look to. And Yahuwah said, Arise, anoint him, for this is he. Now that's extraordinary. So let's look at this ready. This is 132.
Admoni.
Right, at Moni. Kind. Ready of Esau as infant. Now it's ironic because I hear brothers say other things. Brothers say that the only thing they could find that was red was a red, some kind of a uh, towel type of thing or something, and so it wasn't the same type of red that King David was. But when you read this, it's literally the same red as same as Esau. But
Mm-hmm.
they really, and look, it's the same 25, 25. It's the same word. Let's go down and look at it. And it first came out H132, red all over like a hairy garment. So that's all the only hairy garments that we can find for that time frame was some kind of a something, and it was not. It's not the same type of red. It's not a red like a human, like a man red. It's red like Akazaki Yahoo red. That's what it is. And I'm red like uh, not like Yaakov. I'm red like Daoud, and that's what it is. I tell people that I'm red like King David, so they understand. Oh, that's the color that King David was indeed. Yes, indeed. Verse 13. Let's continue. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the Ruach of Yahuwah came upon Daoud from that day forward. And Samuel rose up and went to Ramoth. And the Ruach of Daud departed, Shlika, and the Ruach of Yahuwah departed from Shaul, and an evil Ruach from Yahuwah troubled him. Now that is terrible. Like the Ruach of the Most High leave, and then an evil Ruach from the Most
Mm-hmm.
High is sent to trouble you. Like, oh my goodness. I see why Daud, prayed, please don't take your Ruach from me. Please don't let, what I'm saying, please forgive me and let, you know, I'm so, so sorry. I mean, you gotta be. Because, man, you read this, whew, and I wonder was he made privy to all of this that had happened to Shaul. You know, I'm sure at some point in his life he had to have been, but to imagine, and David was a prophet as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, verse 15, and Shaul's servant said unto him, Behold now, an evil ruach from the Most High trouble you, troubles you. Let our master now command your servant, which are before you, to speak out, to seek out a man who can, uh, who is a conjuring player of the harp, a cunning guy. Man, I'm messing up these words. Let me just start that one from here. Let me just start from the beginning. Let our master now command your servants, which are before you, to seek out a man who is a cunning player on the harp, on an harp. And it shall come to pass when the evil ruach from the Most High is upon you, that he shall play with his hand, and that uh, and you shall be well. So he literally is going to need his replacement in this situation to give him any relief from this evil ruach. So man, that's deep. That's really deep. Uh, verse 17. And Shaul said unto his servant, Provide me now a man that can play well, and bring him to me. So now he's just agreed to bring his servant, his replacement,
Mm-hmm.
right into his midst. Verse 18, which is why the messenger of the Most High told Samuel, uh, "Tell him you here to sacrifice." You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's like, I'm here to find the new king. David would have killed Samuel and David, and we would have gotten anywhere in this situation. So, verse 18. Then answered one of the servants and said, Behold, I have seen a son of Jesse the Bethlehemite that is cunning in playing, and a mighty valiant man, and a man of war, and a prudent prudent in matters, and a comely person, and Yahuwah is with him. So that's pretty outstanding, considering that we just read a couple of verses ago that the Spirit of the Most High came upon him, and now he's telling Shaul that Yahuwah is with him. Like, how does he know that? Like, I know it's probably some space, some time in between these you know, and of course Samuel is writing this, so interesting. Verse 19. Wherefore Shaul sent messengers unto Jesse, and said, Send me Daoud your son, which is with the sheep. All right, so let's check out Daoud's name real quick.
Mm-hmm.
See how it is in here. Yeah, they got it. David, David.
Mm-hmm.
So where were we getting the oud from?
Well, it's almost similar to Yahweh and Yahuwah.
Right.
Like I've heard brothers pronounce Dawood as Daweed.
Yeah, I've
You
heard
know.
that one. Yeah. When you look at the breakdown of it here, it looks like DAV, Veed, VED,
Mm-hmm.
David, David.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like there. But we know it meant beloved, youngest son of Jesse, second king of Israel, uh, loving David, youngest son of Jesse. Yeah. So yeah, it's rather interesting. Rather interesting. So let's continue. Um, Sausage messages. Okay, so we at verse 20 here, and it says, "Then Jesse took a donkey laid with bread and a bottle of wine and a kid, and sent them by Daoud his son unto Shaul. And David came to Shaul and stood before him, and he loved him greatly, and he became his armor bearer." Ain't that something? And David
Right.
came to Shaul and stood before him, and he loved him greatly, and he became his armor bearer. So not only did he, did he send him his replacement, but he basically was like, man, this is a good dude. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like embraced him, like, oh man, you got that good, you got a good ruach. You know what I'm saying? You got a good spirit to you. I like this guy. I want you around me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 22. And Shaul sent to Jesse, saying, "Let Daoud, I pray you, stand before me, for he hath found favor in my sight." And it came to pass, when the evil ruach of the Most High was upon Shaul, that David took the harp and played with his hand, and Shaul was refreshed and was well, and the evil ruach departed from him. So Daoud is basically controlling that evil spirit.
Indeed.
All right, chapter 17. So getting into some good stuff here. Uh, Goliath's challenge. Oh boy, yeah, we're gonna get here come the Philistines. We done
Mm-hmm.
forgot about the Philistines a little bit. We was dealing with them. Um, Shaul was dealing with them a little bit, but he was more dealing with the Amalekites. But now here they show up again. Uh, First Samuel chapter 17 and verse 1. Now the Philistines gathered together their armies to battle, and were gathered together in uh, Sakuth, Sakuth,
Uh, Sako. Sako. Sako.
Sako, all right, which belongeth to Yehuda, and pitched between Sukkot and I, Azekah,
Uh-huh. Azika.
Azekah, okay, hallelujah, in Ephraim,
A
um,
feast damim.
Apistamim. So let's take a look at these locations here. Battle together is Sekuth 7755
Sako.
Soku. Saku. Saku. I mean, this. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. I hadn't said it in a long time. I'm not gonna start back saying it. But you know what it is. Saku, Saku, Sachu, or I'm not gonna even go through all of these things. You can see I'm on the screen here, but it means bushy. So a town in lower lands of Yehuda, a town in the mountain district of Yehuda. So like a couple of different places are called by this place Bushy. I guess because it had a lot of shrubage or whatever the
Mm-hmm.
case. So it kind of makes sense. Like the upper one or the lower one? The upper one.
God.
All right. Let's check out Ezeka. I or
Azaka.
Azaka. Azaka. Dug over, a town in the lower lands of Yehuda. All right, we actually saw that in Joshua. I don't recall that one.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, unless it was called. We have to go back and see if it was called by something else. But this is one, two, three, four. Yeah, it's a four. El
Hafiz Damin.
Damin, the feast I mean. Edge of Blood,
Mm,
a place approximately 16 miles or 25 kilometers southwest of Jerusalem. It's the first time we're seeing this. Let's go back to that one and just see what it was in Joshua. Joshua 10 and 10. Yeah, smite them to and name that location at that time. Yeah, I don't recall. I mean, it's we quite a ways from Joshua from now,
mm-hmm.
but yeah, it was a couple of times in Joshua, three times, as a matter of fact. So yeah, can't remember all those small details, those places. Let's continue. Verse 2. And Shaul and his men and the men of Israel gathered together and pitched in the valley of uh, Elah,
Mm-hmm.
Elah, and set the battle in array against the Philistines. So let's check out this Elah real quick. Allah,
Allah Khan.
Allah. And Oak. Now I remember seeing this one before. Yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
it sounds that sounds like that that idol.
Right.
And yeah. All right, verse 3. And the Philistines stood on the mountain on one side, and Israel stood on the mountain on the other side, and there was a valley between them. And there went out a champion out of Slicka, and there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines, named Goliath of Gath, the height whose height was 6 cubits and a span. All right, so let's check out his name. I wonder if he named after his name ain't Splendor. Okay, so I was like concerned it might be named after idol, but uh, Goloth. So I guess that was his actual name and not something that they called him because surely they wouldn't call him Splendor.
Yeah, Khan.
You know what I'm saying? Like that had to have been his actual name. Let's check out Goth and what it tells us about that. Goth wine press, one of the five royal or chief cities of the Philistines and the native city of Goliath. Yeah, Goliath, I guess because of the conditioning, you think it mean like enormous or really big because you talk about, oh, he's a
That's what I
Goliath.
was thinking.
Yeah,
That's
you
exactly
know
what
what
I
I'm
was
saying?
thinking.
Yeah, because that's basically what it's been turned into.
Yep.
Uh, when you talk about somebody, this guy is Goliath.
And I was looking at that 6 cubits as
Yeah,
well. You remember we said that the cubits was about 18 inches.
okay,
So 18 times 6 is 106. And that divides into, so he was 9 feet tall.
kind, yeah, and a span. So whatever that span is, yeah,
Hmm.
roughly 18 inches. That's exactly what it says here. So let's see what
Oh, so
this
yeah, he was taller than 9 feet then.
not taller than 9 feet. Yeah, span a unit of measure about half a
Oh, half
cubit
a cubic. So
or
yeah,
the
he was.
distance from the thumb to the little finger of an outstretched hand. So it's not really giving us an exact, you know what I'm saying, because hands vary. So, but he's saying the distance from a thumb to this finger. So whatever that's like a span. With my hand, that's like really big.
Hmm.
With a normal person's hand, it wouldn't be as big, but or a smaller person, I should say. I'm 6'5", Goliath 9 foot plus, so don't compare me to him because not the
Yeah,
same.
that's a giant.
Yeah, I'm looking way up at a 9 foot tall cat. You over 7 foot now. You a freak. Imagine a
Hmm.
cat 9 feet tall. I mean, my goodness. And apparently he was, not only was he 9 feet tall, but let's read verse 5. And and he had an helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. So I wonder if they tell us what that is
I
equivalent to.
I, I want to say that coat of mail. You remember from looking at King Arthur and those kings from back in that day, how they had that
Right,
that it was almost like a sheet of metal that would kind of protect them from getting cut, where metal
right,
metal
right.
couldn't cut through it.
Okay, okay. I was trying to see what this, if it gave us a like a basically what that weight was, so that we can kind of get an idea of what he was
Mm-hmm.
carrying around. Because if he's carrying around 40 or 50 pounds, that's that take a man to do that. It take a real man to carry around 50 extra pounds of armor. You know what I'm saying? Uh, it says a unit of weight or measure, gold, silver, copper. So it really doesn't break down to where we can get a shekel. Shekel is one of the things that we use for money in Israel. But yeah, yeah, it really doesn't give us that. But I was wondering if, what does it break down to, this 5,000 shekels? Like, what is that equivalent to in pounds? Let's look at that. Let's go to Google. What would 5,000 shekels break down to in pounds? Convert 5,000 shekels, biblical Hebrew, to a pound. So 5,000 shekels multiplied 125 pounds.
Wow.
Wow, he's carrying a human for his. I mean, a small woman for his armor.
Here it come.
That is wow. I didn't realize that. I knew it
So
was. Yeah,
so
go ahead.
we can assume that this is a stout dude, not only
Right.
tall but physically
Yes.
stout as well.
Yes. He's carrying extra 125 pounds for his armor, and that's not including his helmet. It doesn't say what his helmet weighed,
Here it come.
but yeah, yeah, he's not a little bitty. You know what I'm saying? It's not a lightweight. It's not a tall, thin dude. Verse 6. And he was grievous. Is that grievous?
Mm-hmm.
Grievous.
Grievous. It's spelled different how we spell it now, but it's that old King's
Old
English.
English.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, okay. He had grievous of brass upon his legs, and a
Okay.
target of brass between his shoulders.
All right. Well, yeah, that's a different Grievous than I was thinking. This is
Oh,
some type of armor as well.
okay, okay. Mitz, Mitzku,
Car.
Mitzku, Mitzka,
Mm-hmm.
Mitzka. Yeah, leg armor. Okay, okay. And then he had, I guess this is back armor. Uh, target, which is key, key, key dung, key dung. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to say John with a
Yeah.
D. Dung.
Kidong.
Okay, key dung. All right. Short sword or dart or javelin. So this is his. Actually, this is his javelin. What did I click on? Did I click on the target? Yeah, I clicked on target, didn't I? So he had a javelin of brass or a spear of brass between his shoulders. Okay, because it's talking about that in the next one as well. So that's, I don't know. Maybe they got that one wrong. Um, verse 7. And the staff of his spear was like a weaver beam, and his spearhead weighed 600 shekels of iron, and one bearing a shield went before him. So he didn't even carry his shield. His shield was carried for him, which makes sense because he carried all this other stuff. Now, let me just see this. Okay, so this target is 3591, and then this spear. Yeah, that's two different words. So
Mm-hmm.
this. Okay, so that's because I was under the impression when I clicked here. So I don't know what this target is because when we look at Qigong, it says javelin or okay, maybe a short sword. So maybe this like this was his actual sword. So maybe this is the sword that we will take from him. We'll read here in a little bit. Okay, never mind. Nevertheless, let's keep on. Let's continue. All right, verse 7. No, no, verse 8. Verse 8. Uh, and he stood and cried unto the armies of Israel and said unto them, why are you not come out and set your battle in array? Why are you not? Why are you come out to set your battle in array? Am I not a Philistine, and you servants of Shaul? Choose for you a man for you. Choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me. So he's challenging them.
Mm-hmm.
He's calling them out. Like nobody just got out and ran out there because I guess he's so physically intimidating. They're
Right.
thinking, like, I ain't you know, I'm laughing. I'm laughing because, Shalaki, I'm laughing because I was watching uh, the episode of, I was watching the Boondocks episode on YouTube earlier, and it was the episode where Grandpa had met Ebony. If you're familiar with the Boondocks, Ebony was this like perfect woman that he met. She was out jogging, and he got insecure in himself, and they were walking through the park, and he felt like people was staring at his woman, and he decides to challenge, kind of like Goliath. He decided to challenge people, so he was looking at these cats, and he was like, mm-mm, mm-mm.
Right. Right.
That's what made me laugh when I read that, because that's effectively what Goliath was doing. Besides, they wasn't looking at him like, oh no, I ain't going out there. That's what I should say. That's what Israel was doing. They look at him like, I ain't going out there. I ain't finna face that big behemoth man
God.
with all this armor, 125 pounds plus of armor, and a shield that somebody carrying in front of him. I mean, that's that's wild. I mean, just imagine your shield not even on you. Your shield is in front of you, carried by somebody else. You probably can't even see them for the shield. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I was thinking too. That's the idea I had in my head, the
Right.
picture.
God, shield bigger than they are. Verse 9. Uh, if he be able to fight with me and to kill me, then will then we will then will we be your servants.
Mm-hmm.
But if I prevail against him and kill him, then shall you be our servants and serve us. And you know what it means to serve them. That means you're gonna serve their idol too. So that
Okay.
can't happen. That cannot happen. They idol is a fish. Oh my goodness. The land in the earth or underneath the earth, and they serving that that's underneath the earth in the water. Verse 10. And the Philistines said, and the Philistines said, I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together. And it's funny, as big as this dude is, seem like he want more than one. Seem like it'd be like 3 men or 4 men to go out there at one
Okay.
time. You know,
It
like
wouldn't have been hard for him.
yeah. I mean, Yeah, it seemed like you just, one on each side, and especially in a sword fight, or shoot him with an arrow from
Right.
from a ways off. Shoot a few arrows at him. How about that? Uh, verse 11. I don't know. I guess they wanted to do it with honor and get it in the book like what we read here. Verse 11. When Shaul and all of Israel heard the words of the Slikah, heard these words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. So now they know if we go up, we send somebody up against him and they lose, we got to serve them. So that
Mm-hmm.
makes it even worse. Because, like I said, you also got to serve the idol. If you got to submit to, especially you submit to their will,
It
and
come.
part of their will gonna be we do fish worship in here.
Yeah.
So, verse 12. Now David was the son of that Ephraimite of Bethlehem, Judah, or Bethlehem, Yehuda, whose name was Jesse, and he had 8 sons, and the man was great, Slikah. And the man went among men. Hold on, am I reading that right? And the man went among men for an old man in the day of Shaul, in the days of Shaul. Am I reading that right?
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure why they put that structure that sentence like that.
Okay, because I'm thinking, I'm like, this is this. I'm like, I'll be thinking it's me, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is me, and sometimes it's not. So okay, in the days of Shaul. So I guess this is really talking about Jesse
Mm-hmm.
being a man among men for an old man in the day of Shaul. So basically, he had aged, during the time that Shaul was king. So I'm guessing that's what it's saying. Verse 13. And the 3 eldest sons of Jesse went and followed Shaul to the battle. And the names of the 3 sons that went to the battle were Eliab, the firstborn, and next unto him Abinadab, and the third Shema Shema Shema, yeah,
Yeah. Shema.
Shema Shema Shema. That double letter is never.
Uh-huh.
It's hard for me.
But it's remember when we looked it up, it's
Yeah.
almost like it's not even there. It's just Sham Ah.
Oh, Shema. Okay, okay, All right, all right. Verse 14. Daud was the youngest, and the 3 oldest followed Shaul. All right, so his 3 older brothers went with Shaul, and Daud was the youngest. So he's reiterating that point for us. Verse 15. But Daud, or Daud, I keep saying Daud, David went and returned to Shaul to feed his father's sheep at Bethlehem, and returned from Shaul. Slakia. So he went and returned from Shaul. So I mean, he went away from Shaul back to feeding his father's sheep. So he's not on the scene when this is happening. He's away. Verse 16. And the Philistine drew near morning and evening and presented himself 40 days. So for 40 days, he's antagonizing them. And yes, he said unto David his son, take now for your brethren an ephod of parched corn and these 10 loaves, and run to the camp to your brethren. So his dad is sending them to make sure his brothers are taken care of, which is ironic
Mm-hmm.
because they part of the king's army. So the king should be making sure that they're taken care of, but I guess you want something done, you got to make sure it's done yourself. Uh, verse 18, and carry these 10. cheeses unto the captains of their thousands, and look how your brethren fare, and take their pledges. I wonder what their pledges are. Is that they seem like that would be their
I'm
money.
not. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Take
Pledge.
their pledge. Take their pledge.
Ba.
Uba. Uba. Pledge, token, bond, surety, thing exchanged. Yeah, so it sounds like payment.
Yeah, kind.
Sounds like their payment. So maybe they having their money sent to the father's house. Yeah, that makes sense. Verse 19. Now Shaul and they and all the men of Israel were in the valley of uh, Elah, fighting with the Philistines. So they fighting everybody except for Goliath.
Mm-hmm.
So this is 1 Samuel chapter 17 and verse 20. David accepts the challenge. So now verse 20. Here we go. We're getting into the action. And David arose, slick eye. And David rose up early in the morning and left the sheep with the keeper, and took and went, and Jesse had commanded him, and he came to the trench as the host was going or forth to the fight, and he shouted for the battle. So he shouted for the battle. Now remember, when they told Shaul about Dawood, it said he was a man of war. Now
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how anybody got he was a man of war when he kept the sheep. So it's it's interesting because obviously he was a great man of war. I mean, we're gonna read his exploits. He's definitely that. But we didn't know that we didn't really know that here outside of it being said at that point. But I guess that ruach of the Most High came on him. It gave him that ability. So verse 21: For Israel and the Philistines had put the battle in array, army against army, and Daud left his carriage, or left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of the carriage, and ran unto the army, and came to salute his brethren. And as he talked with them, behold, here came up the champion, the Philistine of Goth, Goliath by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, and spake according to the same words. And David heard him, and all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him and were so afraid. Which it makes more sense. Now you read it, it really makes more sense why they are afraid, because he's basically thrown down this thing. So if you agree to fight this man, and if you lose, you get killed, then you basically give your people over to their people.
Indeed, it's
And
it's it's not worth it. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
not. It's more than just your life. That's
exactly,
on at stake.
exactly. You've staken your whole nation basically in this
Hmm.
fight against this one man. So yeah, I mean, you
Nobody
yeah,
wants to be remembered as that brother.
exactly, exactly. Just think if some overzealous Israelite would have just jumped in there and got slaughtered. We'd be in a whole other situation. Uh, we'd be reading about the captivity of Israel uh, to the Philistines, and then somebody got to deliver us from that. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So, verse 25. But Abed had it not so. And the men of Israel said, Have you seen this man that is come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up. And it shall be that the man that kill him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel. So that means they won't have to pay anything. So they were paying, basically paying taxes, I guess, to the king,
And you
which,
remember, yeah, that's what we had read.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, because you got to support you got to support it. And that's the only way it's going to happen. So, verse 26, and David spoke to the men that stood by him, saying, what shall be done to the man that killed this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For whom is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the army of the living power? Like, hold up, man. Y'all let this dude gonna come up against us like this? You know who we are? I gotta remind you who we are. We the army of the Most High. We His army. We not.
God.
Yeah, this the army of Israel, but we His people. So we His army. Yeah, this is getting good. Verse 27. It's been good, but it's getting better. Verse 27. And the people answered him after this manner, saying, so shall it be done that the man that killed him, yeah. And Eli, Eliab, the oldest brother, heard when he spake unto the men, and Eliab anger was kindled against David. And he said, why cometh you down here? And with whom have you left the sheep? Have you left those follows those few sheep in the wilderness? I know your pride and your naughtiness in your heart, for you are come down to that you may see the battle. Like, you just trying to be nosy, little boy. You need to be at
Mm-hmm.
home with the sheep. Verse 29. Now this is the king of the king he's talking to, the future king he's talking to, and he had no idea. Verse 29. And David said, I have what have I done? What have I now done? This old English is something else. What have I now done? Is there not a cause? Like, yeah, bro, you want me? You don't see everything that's going on, and you want me?
Mm-hmm.
And he turned from him towards another, and spake after the same manner. And the people answered him again after the former manner. All right, verse 31. David kills Goliath, so it's basically giving us the plot, the whole situation here. Verse 31. And when the words were heard which David spoke, they rehearsed them before Shaul, and he sent for him. And David said to Shaul, let no man's heart fail because of him. Your servant will go and fight with this Philistine. Verse 33. And Shaul said to David, you are not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for you are but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth. Like, bro, you not built for this. You too pretty,
Mm-hmm.
too nice looking.
God. But that reminds me of what we read in that previous chapter.
Uh-huh.
Men look at the outward appearance.
Okay. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's exactly what you exactly right. That was a great point, because that's exactly what the Most High, or what his representative said to Samuel, and
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly what we see in here. Verse 34. And David said unto Shaul, your servant keep his father's sheep. And there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock. And I went after him, and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him. Your servant slew both lion and bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he have defied the armies of the living power.
Hallelujah.
And he
You
got
know,
that.
so
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, him slaying a bear and a lion, this would have been something that was told throughout, the land. They called him a valiant man before we actually read about him doing anything. But hearing that right there, like this story would have been relayed, people would have known about this. That this unseemly youth
Mm-hmm.
killed a lion and a bear. He's valiant and the Most High is with him.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it makes sense when we were reading earlier, and I was like, "Well, where did this come from?" Well, yeah, that would have been talked about. Yeah, that lion had gotten into Jesse's flock and had took a sheep, and little Daoud went after him. Little David went after him, and
Hmm.
yeah, such and such saw him, grab him by the beard. You know what I'm saying, and smite him. Like he smote a bear. Like,
Right.
yeah, he smote a bear and a lion. Like two of the baddest. Two of the baddest. Um, so verse 37. Davu said, moreover, Yahuwah that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. And Shaul said to David, go, and Yahuwah be with you. Now I don't know. That's I kind of scratch my head on that one because I know he know he know and understand who the Most High is, but the fact that he been cut off, it would think like I know he want to be back. That's why he gonna end up going to Samuel eventually. But you know, eh, okay, let's continue. I guess we know more than he did at this time. Um, as he's writing this, he's not. He's writing it from this is Samuel's writing and not Shaul's writing it. It would have been interesting to see what his perspective was on this situation. So, verse 38, and Shaul's army, Salika, and Shaul armed Dawood with his armor. Well, yeah, that's right, with his armor, and he put his helmet of brass upon his head. Also, he armed him with his coat of mail, and Dawood girded his sword upon his armor and his array to go, and he arrayed to go, for he had not proven it. And Daud said unto Shaul, I cannot go with this, for I have not proven them. And Daud put them off of him. So he done put on basically the king's uh, battle gear, which it makes you wonder why Shaul didn't go out there. But he would have that would have been bad. But
Okay.
you the king, you know what I'm saying? You supposed to lead the charge.
And that's why they wanted a king. you
Right,
know.
that's why we wanted the king. Exactly, that's why exactly why we wanted it. And he seemed like he would lead. He would have been out there like, oh, you calling Israel? You calling this my servants? Oh, you get the king. But
Hmm.
if Yahuwah would have been with him, he probably would have. But that would have went horribly south with Yahuwah cutting him off. So verse 40, and he took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook and put them in a shepherd's bag which he had, even in a uh, crisp crypt
Script.
script in a script. I said crypt in a script, and he slang and his sling was in his hand, and he drew near the Philistine. Now, when you see that sling, you think of that kind of that. rocket, that wrist rocket kind of modern day thing, but this was more of
Mm-hmm.
a, which was something different. I mean, this is like a something you put in and you hold it and then you twirl it almost like a lasso, and then you get
Right.
to a place and you pop it, and whatever's inside of it goes flying out. And that's yeah, that's interesting. I saw that somewhere. I don't know where I saw it, but it's been years ago. I understood what that was because I've seen illustrations where they had this little white boy with a with a slingshot, and that's what he went out there with. But then I seen the proper illustration. And I was like, okay, that makes a bit more sense. So,
And I was watching something on the History Channel. They used to do a ballistic test
uh-huh.
of bullets
Okay,
and slings and air bow and arrows, but they can't fathom the force. Well, I don't want to ruin the story, so uh, but it's something un unreal
yeah,
about this the way that he slung this. You know what I
it
mean? The
happened.
force that
Yeah.
he would have had to sling it at.
Oh yeah. Well, he had the spirit of the most. He had the
Indeed, Doc, that's what
yeah.
they missing. That's
Right.
what they don't
That's what
realize.
they can't understand.
Hmm.
Exactly. Exactly. So, because this wasn't a regular thing. This was supernatural. When we
Indeed.
read it, we're gonna see when we read here, and just a little bit further down, verse 41. And the Philistine came and drew near unto David, and the man that bare the shield went before him. So the man went got the shield. I just imagine this man. That's got to be a job. He carrying the shield, like you don't even got your shield on you to protect you. You got it, a dude walking around with it in front of you.
Yeah,
You know?
this guy. Yeah, this guy is part of the. I got this picture on my head that Goliath has like an entourage. You know,
Yeah.
being a man of his stature.
Right.
So this armor bearer, this shield bearer
Right.
is, really a lackey,
Right.
somebody that laugh at his jokes. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
Right. Con.
I'm important because I carry his shield. You know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean?
Right. I'm with him. Yeah. You got
Right.
a problem with me? Take it up with him.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
Con. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Verse 42. And when the Philistines looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth and ruddy and of a fair countenance. Like, who sent this pretty boy out here? This little pretty Israelite out of here. Hey, what you doing out here? Verse 43. And the Philistine said unto them, and the Philistine, look, I'm trying to say them, this is Goliath speaking. And the Philistine said unto Daud, am I a dog that you come to me with staves? Like, you come out here with some rocks? And
Hmm.
the Philistines cursed David and his power. Uh, Silicon. And the Philistine cursed Dawood by his idols. So he's saying, let my idols, let the idols of my people be against you. You good for nothing, whatever Israelite you. Verse 44. And the Philistine said unto Dawood, come to me, and I will give your flesh to the fowl of the air and to the beast of the field. Mm, them some hard words, especially considering right that took me right to Devarim 28. The beast of the air and the fowl of the field,
Hmm.
your carcass shall be meat. Verse 45. Then said David to the Philistine, you come to me with a sword and with a spear and with a shield, but I come to you in the name of Yahuwah of hosts, the power of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. Oh boy. Ooh, there's the battle about to kick off. Look, this is a pretty good build up for this fight. You know what I'm saying? This is a
God,
really good
some
build
good
up.
promotion.
Look, I'd rather see it. Like, let's get it
Right.
on. Let's get it on. Verse 46. This day will Yahuwah deliver you in my hand, and I will smite you and take your head from you, and I will give your carcass to the host of the Philistines this day unto the Slicker. I'm reading that wrong. And I will give your carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowl of the air and the wild beasts of the earth, and all the earth may know there is a power in Israel. Oh boy, can't lose. He can't lose. I want to put some money on this one.
God.
Verse 47. and all this and all this assembly shall know that Yahuwah save not, save not with sword or and spear, for the battle of Yahuwah. Oh, Salika, I'm butchering this. Let me go start that over. And all this assembly, this is verse 47, Salika. And all this assembly shall know that Yahuwah save not with sword and spear, for the battle is Yahuwah's, and he will give you unto our hands. And it came to pass when the Philistine arose and came and drew near to David, that David hastened and ran towards the army to meet the Philistine. And David put his hand in his bag and took there a stone and slang it and smote the Philistine in his forehead, that the stone sunk into his forehead, and he fell upon his face to the earth. Yeah, so I mean that was like what what the representative of the Most High did was basically he took control of that thing. So when he even with him slinging it, like I mean I couldn't say this with certainty, but I'm pretty sure he grabbed that joker and pushed it right in his head. Like he took it in, probably took it in his hand and
Hmm.
pushed it right to where it needed it to go. And that's why it was able to go the way it did. Now, again, I couldn't say that that was unequivocal fact, but reading that it went into his head and his forehead, and it sunk in his head, so it's like straight in there, and he falls on his face, dead. You know what I'm
God,
saying? So,
the force that you'd have to do, to
right.
accomplish that.
Yeah, but it did say he was running, so that was
Hmm.
generating force, and then he used that forward motion, so that generated force. But I mean, that the accuracy that he would have had to have to make that happen. So I believe that you know the representative of the Most High had a hand in that. I do believe that, but not to take anything away from from Dawood David, but he said it that the Most High would do the delivering for him. So, verse 50. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of Daud. Now remember, just a short bit ago, we was reading about Gideon, and Gideon started off with a whole lot of men,
Hmm.
and the Most High had him whittle this thing down. It's too many, for him to get the esteem. He don't want it to be like, oh, we just overwhelm them with this force. I mean, it looked like you did it yourself,
Right.
but
God.
so he get the esteem from it. It's got to look is insurmountable, like unreasonable. So you got to know only way this happened was the Most High. You know,
Indeed.
there's yeah, right. There's no way. No other way. so, that makes perfectly good sense. That yeah, because he that's why he couldn't go out there with the armor. With the sword and the spear of Shaul. He said, "No, that's not gonna work. I'm gonna need. I'm just gonna go out there. He probably got his tunic on, and it might be to his knee, and he probably got a little belt around it with his fringes on, and he don't even look like he's ready for battle. He don't look dressed for battle. So
Con.
he just looked like a little young, handsome little dude. Like that's it. So all right, verse 51. Therefore David ran and stood up on the Philistine. He just made himself unclean. Well, not really. He's using his feet. Oh yeah, I think he is because he's gonna raise up that head. Uh, let me start over. Therefore David ran and stood upon the Philistine, and took his sword and drew it out of the sheath thereof,
Mm-hmm.
and slew him, and cut off his head wherewith. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled. And the men of Israel and of Yehuda arose and shouted and pursued the Philistines until they came to the valley and to the gates of Ekron. And the wounded of the Philistines fell down by the way to uh, Sharanar, Sharanar, Sha,
Sha'arim.
Sha'arim, Sha'arim, Tolaki, even unto Goth and unto Ekron. And the children of Israel returned from chasing after the Philistines, and they spoiled their tents. So they went in there and sacked their stuff and got
Mm-hmm.
all their goods. And Daud took the head of the Philistine and brought it to Jerusalem, but he put his armor in his tent. But he put his armor in his tent. So he took Goliath's armor. He kept his armor, but he took his head.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 55. And when Shaul saw Daud go uh, go forth against the Philistine, he said unto Abner, the captain of the host, Abner, whose son is this youth? And Abner said, As your soul liveth, O king, I cannot tell. Now wait just a moment. Wait a minute. Wasn't this the didn't we just read that he
Where he sent
loved
him
David
out.
greatly?
He sent him out.
That and but even before that, he loved David greatly, and sent to Jesse to say, "Send me your son, for I'm very fond of him." Now he's like, "Who is this?"
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, Samuel, I don't know. Your writing is funny. Uh, no folly, no folly. But it's funny though. And he obviously knew who Dawood was, David was, and for him to be asking Abner, like, "Who is this?" Like, I don't know. Verse 56. And the king said, uh, "Inquire you whose son the stripling is." The stripling. What in the world is a stripling?
I'm
Am I
not
looking at
sure.
that right?
Yeah. Elim.
Elim, 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 young man. Okay, that makes sense. I was like, stripling. Never heard that word before. That means young man. Okay. Um, verse 57. And as David returned, and as David returned from the slaughter of the Philistines, now it's called the slaughter of the Philistines.
Right. Right.
Abner took him and brought him before Shaul with the head of the Philistine in his hand. So he bringing this bloody head like. Philistine
Yeah.
blood dripping everywhere, it's running.
Yeah. And you
And
you had mentioned that he was unclean, and I would say that that's a fair assessment. You
yeah,
know.
yes indeed. He done made himself unclean with a dead body. Which he that's 7 days, ain't it?
Yeah, and it's got to wash in the evening. I want to say on the
Yeah.
third day.
Okay, kind. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, it's not like unclean to even. That's 7 days if you want a dead body. If I remember that correctly. Uh, verse 58. And Shaul said unto him, whose son are you, young man? And David answered, I am the son of your servant Jesse the Bethlehemite. Now this is, I mean, come on, man, this is strange. This is really strange because he knew who David was. He just said he loved him greatly. Was that last chapter we read that?
Yeah, come.
Okay.
You know, the only way I can really explain it out is perhaps it wasn't him who sent for to Yessi. Perhaps it was people that were telling him about Dawid, how he was able to play the harp,
Hmm.
to where he
Okay.
really didn't know who it was. He just knew that he liked the harp being played for him, but
Yeah.
it wasn't a personal relationship that he had formed with Dawid at this point.
Yeah. I mean, that would make sense. That would make
I
sense.
think we only gonna get through like two more chapters though.
Tonight.
Yeah, kind. But you know it ain't all bad because then that will put us back on the path for five, and five.
Oh yeah. Because I corrected it. So yeah, we down. We just doing 16 through 20.
Well,
So
I don't think we're gonna get through 20 tonight.
oh, you don't think we're gonna make 20?
Nah, it's already 11:30.
Oh, well, you know how to pick up when you read here. Because we at 18 now, right?
18, yeah, but it's a long chapter as well, and
Oh, is it long? Okay, kind. No, it's only 30. It's only 30.
then this I want to say this next one. See what 19 is,
19 looking like okay. 19. Yeah, it's only 24.
and then
And
20.
20 is only, yeah, it's a little bit longer. It's 42.
Yeah,
Yeah, not bad.
we have probably have to pick that 20 up tomorrow. All right?
Okay, we can do that. We can do that. I got you. You getting sleepy? I get you. No sweat, no sweat. Okay, all right. Let's go here. Yeah, it's 11:30, so we can. Yeah, you sound like you stressed out. Kai. All right. Verse chapter 18. First
Want me
Samuel
to pick
chapter.
up?
Yeah. Kai. That's cool. Yeah, we're right here.
All right, this is the first book of Samuel, chapter 18. Jonathan and Dawid, verse 1. And it came to pass, when he had made an end of speaking unto Shaul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of Dawid, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul. You know, this as it should be, you know.
Good friends, like two good brothers with, I mean, two good Israelites with good spirits, and
Come.
yeah, they should click together.
Yep. Verse 2. And Shaul took him that day, and would let him go no more home to his father's house. Then Jonathan and Dawid made a covenant because he loved him as his own soul.
And you
And
know what's
Jonathan,
sad? It's
oh,
like
what's that?
you know what's sad when you read we reading this here, in this particular account. Uh, some Christians believe that this was some kind of a homosexual relationship. You know what I'm saying? They can't understand that brothers can literally be brothers and not some sexual
Yeah,
immorality got to take place.
and
Like
I would say people who think like that, I
are
obviously
sick.
haven't read the scriptures because, for one, if they would see why these brothers linked up the way that they did, they shared a similar ruach. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? We
Absolutely.
read about Jonathan's ruach
Hmm.
and how he and his armor bearer went
Right.
over against these Philistines,
Hmm.
and they were bold and
Right.
courageous.
Absolutely.
Dawid has just exemplified that as well. You know?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I understood it, but I had a woman back when I was in Little Rock. We had a conversation. They were like, "Yeah, David did homosexual stuff." I'm like, "What? Where
Not
you
at
get this
all.
from?" Like, "Yeah, him and Jonathan." I was like, I had not read this fully like we reading it now, but at that time, but I knew better. I'm like, no, not David. No, David wouldn't do that. David
No,
knows
not
better.
at all.
You know what I'm saying? And but like this is what apparently, and this is a cat in a pulpit on a first day of the week teaching this congregation of people, and they go out regurgitating. Yeah, David did gay stuff. Like no,
Scattering the sheep further, man.
exactly, exactly.
Sad.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, and apparently this is a thing that is taught in Christendom. uh, that somehow that this was something that more than what it was, or not even more, something defiled. Which what it was again two brothers who shared a similar ruach, who had a similar spirit. They were both men of
Mm-hmm.
war. They were both
Con.
had their trust in the Most High, and they were tight, like brothers should be. And that's
Indeed.
exactly what they were. But
I mean,
people look at this and
we
go, "Oh, well, that's gay."
yeah, we hear about stories of Vietnam veterans and
Hmm.
how they were became like brothers because the war that they faced over there was rigorous and
Right?
they had to sleep close quarters. You don't hear
Hmm.
about anything homosexual, but it's not hard for us to fathom how these men could become like close like that. This is a
Exactly.
similar situation, you know.
Yeah, kind, 100%. It makes perfect sense to me. I mean, it's just some people see this and will take it way into left field and go, say things that they shouldn't be saying. It's unreasonable to say something that you can't substantiate. But the way this is written, they can kind of, I can see how they can go there, but you got to understand that David and Jonathan are commandment keepers. They
That's right.
keep the way of the Most High, and that's against the way of the Most High. So
Indeed.
you're not going to get that from this situation. Yeah, he messed up when he went to Bathsheba and that whole situation with Uriah, but he repented from that. And there's another place which I don't want to take up too much time with this, but there's another place where it reads uh, that basically David was perfect except for the situation with Uriah the Hittite. That was basically his only flaw. So not only is his place in the kingdom solidified, but
Mm-hmm.
he's also going to be a prince in the kingdom. Like that's how stout his position is. He's not only in the kingdom already. Now he's not only guaranteed a place in the kingdom, but he is a prince in the kingdom. I mean, you can't. The Messiah is the king, so
Mm-hmm.
he's a prince. So he's under the Messiah already. It's established in the script. From years back. So to think that man with that position in the kingdom was doing gay stuff, I mean,
Yeah, those
that's
folks
crazy.
hadn't read the scriptures, and,
No,
and if they read them, they lack the
they
understanding.
don't have understanding. That's exactly what it is. 100%.
Yep. All right, verse 4. And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him, and gave it to Dawid, and his garments, even to his sword, and to his bow, and to his girdle.
See that? See. They read this and go, "Oh, oh, this naked men."
Right,
Like,
right.
no, man. You gotta see deeper than this. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's saying what he's saying, but he's giving him the clothes off his back. That's how near and dear this brother was to him. Like, I will give you what I have for myself. I will give you this. This is the king's son. So this is not like he's not just giving him the clothes off his back. He's giving him this royal stuff off of his back. So that's what we're understanding here.
Indeed, Doc.
Yeah,
Indeed. He's esteeming his brother. You know.
exactly, exactly.
Yep. Verse 5. And Dawid went out whithersoever Shaul sent him, and behaved himself wisely. And Shaul set him over the men of war, and he was accepted in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of Saul's servants. And it came to pass as they came, when Dawid was returned from the slaughter of the Philistines, that the women came out of all the cities of Israel singing and dancing to meet King Shaul with tabrets and with joy and with instruments of music. And the women answered one another as they played and said, Shaul hath slain his thousands and Dawid his 10,000s.
Dang.
It ain't what he wanted to hear.
No, no,
I bet he was like, "What?"
right? You know what I'm saying? He's like, yeah, yeah. They sing. Oh, they say what? He said what?
What?
Shaul had done what? And then they heard, and Dawid his 10,000. Like what?
Right.
What?
It vexed him some more. It vexed
God,
him.
yeah, that turned it way up because he was like, you know what I'm saying? I bet he was feeling like, oh yeah, they singing. Oh yeah, I'm hearing it. Come on, let me hear it. And they probably said it twice, and then they got to, and Daoud his 10,000s. So,
Right.
watch what he say right here. I mean, he finna what say?
Uh, verse 8. And Shaul was very wroth, and the saying displeased him. And he said, They have ascribed unto Dawid 10,000, and to me they have ascribed but thousands. And what can he have more but the kingdom?
Like this,
Right.
what? I mean, dang, they giving him 10,000s, and they only giving me thousands.
Yeah,
Like,
God.
when I killed 9,000, and David went and killed 90,000. You know, like,
Hmm.
man, yeah, he got the head of kingdom. If that's the case, like,
Right.
yeah, he wasn't feeling that.
God, God. Verse 9. And Shaul eyed Dawid from that day and forward.
Like this dude, yeah, he's got it. Oh boy, yeah. So
God. Shaul turns against Dawid. Verse 10. And it came to pass on the morrow that the evil Ruach from the Most High came upon Shaul, and he prophesied in the midst of the house. And Dawid played with his hand, as at other times, and there was a javelin in Shaul's hand. And Shaul cast the javelin, for he said, I will smite Dawid even to the wall with it. And Dawid avoided out of his presence twice. Wow.
Salakia. So yeah, yeah. Let's take a look at this because it's easy to get
Conith.
manipulated. How these words are manipulated. You said
Conith.
can eat.
Mm-hmm.
So I want y'all to understand this is a spear. That's what we're talking about. A javelin is just a European fancy word for spear.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm sure our people, the word kanith means spear. It doesn't mean javelin. It probably means spear because that's who we were. We were these people in Israel, and we are us, and not them.
Yeah,
So
because like
yeah,
when I hear the word javelin, I automatically think of the Olympics
right.
and Greeks, you know.
That type of thing. But
Hmm.
yeah, kanith is a spear. That's what it is. So wanted to drive that point home.
Con. Verse 12. And Shaul was afraid of Dawid, because Yahweh was with him, and was departed from Shaul.
Mm.
Therefore Shaul removed him from him, and made him his captain over 1,000. And he went out and came in before the people. And Dawid behaved himself wisely in all his ways, and Yahweh was with him. Wherefore, when Shaul saw that he behaved himself very wisely, he was afraid of him. But all Israel and Yehuda loved Dawid, because he went out and came in before them. So it wasn't. He's got a different ruach than Shaul. You know what I mean? Shaul
Yeah,
is mastering himself over the people, and
right.
Dawid is of the people.
Is
You
of
know
the
what I
people.
mean?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say exactly. He's a man of the people because he's going out and coming in the people. So he's down there, and they like David, 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 and so
Hmm.
he's slapping hands, and giving dap, the stuff we do, like, what that it makes to someone's day, and you go through and give them a fist bump, and they looking, they kind of look up to you because you a man of the Most High, and of course he, speaking well and doing good. So yeah, he doing what he should do, and
Man, and
Shaul just disconnected.
Khan, and I'm hearing that Dawid has behaved himself wisely.
Hmm.
I'm wondering, I was when I first read it, I was wondering what that meant.
Hmm.
But see, Dawid is aware that he's been anointed king, but you don't hear him mention that.
No.
That's wise.
Hmm.
He's not boasting in himself. We don't hear about him boasting. I killed Goliath. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Uh, Not at all, because he giving that esteem to the Most High, and that's what the Most High looking at him and loving about him. Because soon as good as Shaul began, it quickly became about him. You know what I'm
Con.
saying? And and that's where he went off, and that's where it started to go awry. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so we see Shaul. I mean, we see David here, and it's the opposite. As
Mm-hmm.
he's actually learning from the king. He's training in
Con.
in in, in the king. So he's put him to the lowest place. I was gonna mention he made him captain over 1,000. So the fewer people you have to report to you, the higher your position is. So
Mm-hmm.
he put him in a low position, make him captain of 1,000, which basically makes him captains over people. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the more common people, because he's I don't think he's even reporting to, like, he don't have troops reporting to him. I think the people come to him and speak to him because he's open over 1,000.
Yeah, con. Con.
Yeah, I think that's the lowest one.
Well, like what would this be equivalent to in the military? All right?
Well, it's really not a position that would be that's like in a common army. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
this would be more like a patrol officer,
Okay.
like a patrolman, because he deals with the people. Like, if there's a problem, you go to the
Mm-hmm.
officer and say, "This is the problem," and then he handles it there. So that's what that captain over 1,000 is. And then when you got captain over 100, and then captain over 50s, then you're talking about now you're so if you're a captain of 1,000, that means you dealing with 1,000 people. So there are a few of those. They go and deal
Mm-hmm.
with the thousands, and then they report that up. And so the person that's over 50, so you got captain over 1,000, you got captain over hundreds or whatever the case, or 100. So they'll have 100 of them come to report to them what's going on with the people, and then they'll
Mm-hmm.
report that up. And so as it gets smaller, the fewer people you got reporting to you, the higher your position is, because you're not
Con.
talking to the more people you're talking to, the lower you are on the pole, because that's
Okay.
the least desirable. Imagine you're talking to 1,000 people every day. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? Like, that's aggravating.
Yeah, con. Con.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely not a, him putting him there. That's from him being the king's armor bearer. That's a demotion.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, con. Verse 17. And Shaul said to Dawid, Behold, my elder daughter, Merab, her will I give thee to wife. Only be thou valiant for me, and fight Yahweh's battles. For Shaul said, Let not my hand be upon him, but let the hand of the Philistines be upon him.
All right.
So
Let's
he's
take a look
still,
at.
Shaul's still thinking wickedly. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Let's check out what his daughter's name means. Merab,
Merab.
increase. All right. Eldest daughter Shaul. Okay. So yeah, her name means increase. So that's interesting. All right.
All right. Verse 18. And Dawid said unto Shaul, Who am I? And what is my life, or my father's family in Israel, that I should be son-in-law to the king?
Mm,
Humble, you know what I
hmm.
mean?
Exactly. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. But it came to pass at the time when Merab, Shaul's daughter, should have been given to Dawid, that she was given unto Adriel, the Maholathite, to wife.
Azriel. Was that his brother?
I'm
Let's
not
see.
sure.
Let's see what this tells us. No,
I
I don't
think
think
we
that
have
was Flock of the Most High, son of Bazilia,
Barzillai. Mm-hmm.
the man whom Shaul gave his daughter. Okay, so no, this was a different. I was thinking, I was trying to remember his brother's name. When I saw that, I was like, it kind of reminds me of that. But
But he
yeah,
was. I want to say he was a Benjamite, Benamite though, because I want to say we
yeah.
read about him back in a couple of chapters ago.
No, this is the first place we see it.
First time.
18, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it was the first time we see in his name. Um, Interesting. All
All
right.
right.
Okay, so we are
Yeah,
20.
verse 20.
Okay.
Khan. Dawid married Shaul's daughter. Verse 20. And Michael, Saul's daughter, loved Dawid, and they told Shaul, and the thing pleased him. And
All right.
Shaul, oh,
I'm sorry.
Salaki.
Let's take a quick look at her name.
Mm-hmm.
Mikal,
Mikael.
hmm who is like the Most High.
It's almost like
Michael.
Michael.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly what I was thinking. All right.
Verse 21. And Shaul said, I will give him her, that she may be a snare to him,
Mm,
and that the hand of the Philistines may be against him.
mm,
Wherefore Shaul said to Dawid, Thou shalt this day be my son-in-law in the one of the twain.
mm. So he's
Wow.
hoping that his daughter somehow causes him to trip,
Mm-hmm.
and the Philistines somehow can benefit and take him out. Like, what
Right.
is he? What is this? Well, that's that evil ruach that the Most High has sent to him.
Indeed.
Yes,
Indeed.
indeed.
Verse 22. And Shaul commanded his servants, saying, Commune with Dawid secretly, and say, Behold, the king hath delight in thee, and all his servants love thee. Now, therefore, be the king's son-in-law. And Shaul's servant spake those words in the ears of Dawid. And David said, Seemeth it to you a light thing to be a king's son-in-law, seeing that I am a poor man and lightly esteemed?
Mm,
And the servants of Shaul told him, saying, On this manner spake David. And Shaul said, Thus shall ye say to David, The king desireth not any dowry, but 100 foreskins of the Philistines, to
mm,
be avenged of the king's enemies. But Shaul thought to make David fall by the hand of the Philistines.
mm.
Wow.
He trying to set him up, and
Hmm.
that's what he wanted. But look what happens.
Verse 26. And when his servants told David these words, it pleased David well to be the king's son-in-law, and the days were not expired. Wherefore David arose and went, he and his men, and slew the Philistines 200 men. And David brought their foreskins, and they gave them in full tale to the king, that he might be the king's son-in-law. And Shaul gave him Michal, his daughter, to wife.
Salakia, hold up,
Wow.
my
Yeah.
gracious! Can you imagine? He got to have a bag of
Wow.
Philistine foreskins.
Right. Right.
I mean, good grief! So they went in there, and I don't even know how you do that. I don't. I couldn't. Man, I I couldn't do it. I'm sorry, I can't do that. Like you, not only you go in there and kill your enemy, now you gotta cut off their foreskin.
Mutilate him.
Yeah, mutilate them to like. Oh my goodness. Oh, and then just put them in a bag, and then he can, hey, take this to the king. Hand this to the king.
And give it to and
You
give
know?
it to the king. You know what I mean? That's crazy.
Yeah, that is some next level stuff. There. That's
But I think he was trying to humiliate Dawid with this. You know what I mean? Because this is not something that I would uh look forward to doing. You know what I mean? Like maybe the killing part, would be all right because these are my enemies. But
right. What you see
you
what it
know,
said, and the thing pleased Dawid well. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? He told him what it was. He like, the king don't want a dowry, just 100 foreskins of the Philistine.
I'm gonna
And
go
he
get
was
him
like, and
200.
this, yeah, yeah. Oh, you want 100? Well, here you go. Here go two. Like we hit 200 of them, and here you go. So,
Right.
like, just and I just imagine that bag probably dripping with blood.
Wow.
I mean, what are he gonna do with those? Like,
Right. Exactly. What is that? It's not a trophy, man. It's not a.
no. Well, it kind of, because what it does, it puts your, we believe in circumcision, and
Mm-hmm.
so, they don't. They serve a fish idol, and so, you take your enemies and you circumcise them, and then you get those portions. I mean, I'd have been cool with just the circumcision, but of course, it serves as the proof that it was done. But oh, I I don't know. I don't know. That's almost turning my stomach to think about
God.
circumcising 200 men with a sword or a knife or whatever he used. Uh, and did he tie a string and pull it and then chop it, or
Man,
did he just
I'm assuming he just whacking at this
just
point. You
whack
know what I
this?
mean? Just cutting, just cutting.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's brutal right there. That's brutal. That's the
Man,
case. That's the case. God, let's finish this one on out. My goodness. So,
God.
yeah.
Verse 28. And Shaul saw and knew that Yahweh was with Dawid, and that Michal, Saul's daughter, loved him. And Shaul was yet the more afraid of Dawid, and Shaul became Dawid's enemy continually.
Mm,
Then the princes of the Philistines went forth, and it came to pass, after they went forth, that Dawid behaved himself more wisely than all the servants of Shaul, so that his name was much set by.
mm. All right.
He's making a name for himself.
Yeah, yeah. He's becoming well respected. We'll go ahead and run through this one real quick. We got about 6 minutes for midnight, and then we'll wrap it on up. And
God.
yeah, I'll try to talk less.
It's just it's a lot of commentary. You know what I mean?
It
It's a
is.
lot of yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? And these are interesting stories. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So
Absolutely.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah. It's a Bearcat, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
This is the book of First Shemuel, chapter 19. Dawid protected from Shaul, verse 1. And Shaul spake to Jonathan his son, and to all his servants, that they should kill Dawid. But Jonathan, Shaul's son, delighted much in Dawid. And Jonathan told Dawid, saying, Shaul my father seeketh to kill you. Now therefore, I pray you, take heed to yourself until the morning, and abide in a secret place, and hide yourself. And I will go out and stand beside my father in the field where thou art, and I will commune with my father out of thee. And what I see, that I will tell you.
Hmm.
And Jonathan, so this is, it's a good bro. It's a good brother, man.
Absolutely. Going against his own father and the king, for the
Hmm.
sake of Dawood. And the thing about this, you have to consider this as well. Shaul is the king. Jonathan is his father. I mean, Jonathan is his son. So
Hmm.
after Shaul, Jonathan would
He
reign.
would have been king. God.
Yeah, he gave that up. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying, for the sake of doing what was right, because his
Indeed.
father was off. Now Jonathan would have made a wonderful king, because
Hmm.
he was a man of valor and about that action, about that life, and you know, so but he knew that the Most High had said it the way it was set, and it was
God.
supposed to go to Dawood. So,
Yep. Verse 4. And Jonathan spake good of Dawid unto Shaul his father, and said unto him, Let not the king sin against his servant, against Dawid, because he have not sinned against you, and because his works have been to you, have been to thee very good. For he put his life in his hand, and flew the Philistine and slew the Philistine, and Yahweh wrought a great salvation for all Israel. Thou sawest it, and did rejoice. Wherefore then wilt thou sin against innocent blood, to slay Dawid without a cause?
Mm.
So, he's trying to reason with him.
Right. Be reasonable. You being unreasonable. I mean, look at all this is happening.
Mhm. Verse 6. And Shaul hearkened unto the voice of Jonathan, and Shaul swore, as Yahweh liveth, he shall not be slain.
Mm.
And Jonathan called Dawid, and Jonathan showed him all those things. And Jonathan brought Dawid to Shaul, and he was in his presence, as in times past. And there was war again, and Dawid went out and fought with the Philistines, and slew them with great slaughter, and they fled from him. And the evil ruach from Yahweh was upon Shaul, as he sat in his house with his javelin, with his spear in his hand.
Hmm.
And Dawid played with his hand. And Shaul sought to smite Dawid even to the wall with the spear, but he slipped away out of Shaul's presence, and he smote the spear into the wall. And Dawid fled and escaped that night.
Hmm.
So he's already
Right.
almost broken the vow, to
Yeah.
the Most High.
As he said, as Yahweh live, he will not die, and that he's throwing this spear at him. You know what I'm saying? He seeks to spear him. You know, the spear threw him into the wall.
God,
Now, what could Dawood do as a man? What could Dawood do to Shaul? I mean, he done went out and just crushed 200 him and his people. You know, just crushed 200 Philistines and basically castrated them
that's God.
and brought and brought the remnant to Shaul for a dowry. Now, what could he do man to man with Shaul? I mean, he put Shaul down so quick and easy. I mean, that
Hmm.
wouldn't even be a literally a contest. You know what I'm saying?
God.
So it's just crazy, man. This is just unreasonable. But again, it mentioned that unclean spirit. You know that evil ruach that
Hmm.
has come upon him. So that's what he's dealing with.
God. Verse 11. And Shaul also sent messengers into Dawid's house to watch him and to slay him in the morning. And Michal, Dawid's wife, told him, saying, If thou save not thy life tonight, tomorrow thou shalt be slain.
Mm,
So Michal let Dawid down through a window, and he went and fled and escaped.
mm,
And Michal took an image and laid it in the bed, and put a pillow of goat's hair for his bolster, and covered it with a cloth. And when Shaul sent messengers to take Dawid, she said, He is sick. And Shaul sent the messengers again to see Dawid, saying, Bring him up to me in the bed, that I may slay him. And when the messengers were come in, behold, there was an image in the bed, with a pillow of goat's hair for his bolster. And Shaul said unto Michal, Why hast thou deceived me so, and sent away mine enemy, that he escaped? And Michal answered Shaul, He said unto me, Let me go. Why should I kill you? So Dawid fled and escaped, and came to Shamuel to Ramah, and told him all that Shaul had done to him. And he and Shamuel went and dwelt in Naoth.
mm,
And it was told Shaul, saying, Behold, Dawid is at Naoth in Ramah. And Shaul sent messengers to take Dawid. And when they saw the company of the prophets prophesying, and Shamuel standing as appointed over them, the Ruach of the Most High was upon the messengers of Shaul, and they also prophesied.
mm,
And when it was told Shaul, he sent out other messengers, Salakia. He sent other messengers, and they prophesied likewise. And Shaul sent messengers again the third time, and they prophesied also.
mm,
Verse 22. Then went he also to Ramah, and came to a great well that is in Seku. And he asked and said, Where are Shemuel and Dawid? And one said, Behold, they be at no oath in Ramah. And he went thither to Naoth in Ramah, and the Ruach of the Most High was upon him also.
Mm.
And he went on and prophesied until he came to Naoth in Ramah. And he stripped off his clothes also, and prophesied before Shemuel in like manner, and lay down naked all that day and all that night. Wherefore they say, is Shaul also among the prophets?
Wow. So the spirit of the Most High then came upon Shaul and then got him down where he uncovered. And
Mm-hmm.
wow, wow, that is most interesting. So we're
Indeed.
gonna take a pause here, and we'll pick up tomorrow, Abba willing, at chapter 20, and we will read 20 through 25. Abba willing, we'll read those six so that we can get through back to where we need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, we're going to go ahead to our final thoughts on these four chapters. You want to go ahead with that, Art?
Oh, Khan. You know, just these 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 men who have been chosen by the Most High. Uh, with the exception of Shaul and I would say Shimshon.
Mm-hmm.
You know what we've seen from him, and Dawid kind of exemplifies that humble, unlikely individual. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we see the Most High doing wonderful acts with that of Gideon, with Dawid, and trying to think somebody else we saw that was humble. One of
I
those
mean,
one of
all the
those
way
judges.
back to Moshe. Oh yeah, you can go back to Moshe even with that one though.
Yeah, Khan. So, this should be a lesson, a lesson within a lesson, you know what I mean? How we should be behaving ourselves.
Right,
Uh, not boasting, let our boast be in the most high. And I
absolutely.
think that's scripture as
Right,
well in the so-called New Testament,
very kind of so. Yeah.
don't boast in ourselves, our boast is in the most high. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the things that I've picked up from these readings tonight and what we've read thus far in this wonderful book. All right?
Hallelujah, hallelujah, indeed. Yeah, this has been quite a good couple chapters here, a few chapters here, because we really pick up a lot of good nuances and understanding. The beginning of Dawood or David and how he got started. Um, we understood, Shaul had been basically cut off, and that put him in a negative position. The
Mm-hmm.
evil ruach came up on him, and it went pretty much awry. Uh, but the Most High was able to use wisdom with Shamuel or uh, Sha, um, I forgot how to say his name in Hebrew.
Uh
Samuel.
Shemuel.
Shemuel. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
kind. But the way Shemuel
Shemuel,
did,
yeah.
kind. But the way Shemuel moved in wisdom when it came to selecting Dawood and not just throwing it in the face of the king and putting himself and the future king in jeopardy. So we saw a lot of intelligence and wisdom and just this mighty man that Dawood was, and I brought out the fact that his place in the kingdom is solidified. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, my gracious, we here we are enduring, seeking to endure to the end, and to know that in the very script that we learn from, we learn that it is said that Dawood's place is already there, and not only that, he's going to be a prince. So you got the Most High, you got Hamashiach, and then and he's the only named prince that I see. I don't recall anybody else being called a prince. Not Moshe, not even Abraham. You know, called a prince, and he was called a friend of the Most High or of his representative. and yet he's not mentioned as a prince, at that stature. So that
Mm-hmm.
goes to show, it's a lot of great works that came through David, and we're just reading, or through David, and we're just reading a few of them here in the books of First Samuel. But we'll pick up chapter 20 tomorrow. It is right after midnight, and we're gonna go ahead and adjourn for the night. Anything else you want to add, Doc?
Now, all praises to the Most High for another blessed night of getting deeper into this word, man.
Kind, yes indeed, yes indeed. Yeah, we did. I didn't realize we were going so far because we literally at hour and 55 minutes right now.
Mhm.
So yeah, if we would have went into that next chapter, that would have took us over that 2 hour mark. So yeah, you actually called it right, and and didn't I didn't realize it. I didn't realize that we were so
Well,
deep
that, that
into it.
that 17 was like 60, close to 60, 60
Verses.
verses, and
Yeah.
it was a story that we can't rush through it. You know what I
Oh
mean? It
yeah,
was
no.
a it was a lot there. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. A lot to dissect. And we're not just here to read it. We're trying to get some understanding and help us better understand. To
Mm-hmm.
find out that Goliath's uh his armor was 120 pounds, 25 pounds. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that says a lot about this champion they called him. We should have looked
Con.
at that word champion. I didn't even look at that. We should have looked at that. I had to go back and look at that and see if it's something that we need to bring out. But I wonder what that Hebrew word is for that word
And you
champion.
got you
So
got you got time to check it out?
yeah, let's go to it real quick. Matter of fact, I just thought about that. I don't know why I just laid on me here. It rejected the reign of Israel. Uh, yeah. Now we anointed. Okay, so it was the next chapter. Yep, Goliath's in here. And one side, span, shekel of brass. Wait, did I look over it? Rather 6 cubits. We 600 shekels. The Philistine Shaul kill. Philistine said, and um, yeah, I don't know why I didn't think about. I should have looked at that champion and see
Let's
what that
see.
says. I wonder if it is a particular. What's the Hebrew word for that? And
There it is, right there.
oh, sure
Four.
it is right there, right there. Yeah, I did go over it. The mountain. Oh, you said four right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here. So it's two different words.
Ish.
Okay, so that's a man, like a man of war. And then 1143,
Benaim.
Naim. So between space
Hmm.
between two armies. Oh, okay. So basically it's the east. So let's go back to east. How many times is this used as like champion? So man, men, one, husband, any, miscellaneous. So I guess this one falls under miscellaneous. So that's like a man, male. Okay, champion right here. Okay, great man. So yeah, I didn't know if it was like a specific word for that, but yeah, this is ish, which is also a word we use for husband, which
Mm-hmm.
the word we commonly use for husband is that. So I didn't know if it was be something different, but interesting enough um, to have that understanding. So all right. Well, if there's nothing further, we're going to go ahead and adjourn. I am your Akazaki Yahoo, joined this evening by my most esteemed Akenanaya. We give all praise, honor, and great esteem unto the Most High Power, Yahuwah, Bahashem, Yahushua HaMashiach, and to the 12 tribes of Israel who are scattered to the four quarters of the earth. We say Shalom Wabarukim, that is peace and blessings. And I cannot wait to the day that the Most High brings us back together and we are once again 12 tribes, one family, one nation under the Most High power, under one covenant. Until that day, Shalom, family.
Shalom, shalom, family.